Deep conversations are starting.
Hello, everyone, to Deep Conversations by Breath Hub. I have a lovely lady here. You have such an elegant energy. Every time I see you, you're just this light and elegance. And I'll let you introduce yourself first, and then I'm going to bribe you again.
Oh, thank you, Nevşah. My name is Shoana Taylor, and I'm really pleased to be here. Very excited.
Me too, thank you.
So a little bit about myself. I have a very mixed background. My primary training was as a fine artist and then moved into bodywork. And this really came out of a wake-up call experience when I was 25. And the calling to do bodywork in the form of massage after I had a severe car accident. So that kind of put me on the journey to heal the healing modalities, and also learning things like yoga and meditation, and just exploring down that path. Really, I can go into more depth about that. But
Yeah,
that's
I
just
mean, so where do you
idea.
think does this whole elegant, wise energy come from? Because I'm always impressed with people's energies. It's like with my own experience, because I've worked with breath for a long time. I think I don't connect with people on the physical level, but more on the energetic level. And this, every time I meet you, this elegant, soft, feathery energy, it really impresses me. So where does it come from? Why do you think?
Oh, I think I'm well-rounded because I'm kind of close in age as you. So I've had many ups and downs. I think that's probably what's done it. A bit like Shoana, I came in with quite a lot of very high energy, and I tend to be quite high output, but I've toned down a lot. I've burnt out twice, so I've had to learn how to curb my drive. I'm a double fire sign.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a kind of impulse, a lot of action and doing.
So this is what happens
I tone
to
it
fiery
down.
energy, when you do breath
Tone it
work and
down.
meditate and find your own balance.
Yes.
It just turns into this very elegant and centered, amazing energy full of light. So fire turns into light.
Yeah, that's the one way to think about it. Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. How was the two burnouts?
Wow. The first one happened around that time when I was 25. So I was in my final year of fine art training. And I was wanting to do well and impress, and I took on too much. So most of the students were filling a room, and I decided I wanted to fill a whole building. So so the last leg I was working I think I did 5 days with no sleeping.
Wow.
Just through.
Wow.
I was taking slimming pills and drinking Coca-Cola and smoking a lot of cigarettes back then.
What? Everything at the same time. My goodness. Like bam, bam, bam.
But what happened at the end is that I did not reach that place I wanted to with this, success and everything working out. I failed. And I came crashing down, and that's when I crashed and burned.
You mean you felt like you did reach to a success, and then
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I was failed.
Okay.
I was failed. I had to,
and although you did all the work,
okay. So I had put my soul into something for 4 years to be told, oh, sorry.
Interesting. And that was kind of like a shifting.
That was a big shift.
point.
And then just a few months later, then I had this big car accident which stopped me in my tracks. So, and at the time, I was able to recover on a game farm. So my mother at the time was working on a game farm in South Africa. She was running a little Montessori nursery school there. And so I was able to live in this most beautiful natural environment with nothing but, you know, land and sky and animals.
Beautiful.
And I had a realization when I was, because I was put out of action, so I couldn't use my upper body. So literally, I had to be everything done for me. I had to be fed.
Okay.
And, so going into that space, I had to rethink.
So you
my
were
whole
basically
life.
stopped, like we were all stopped during the whole pandemic.
Yeah, I was stopped back then.
Stopped.
Age 25.
Which was obviously, now you look back, a gift.
Yes, no, it was my life wake up call. So then what came to me was this Lomi massage, which is not really like the Western physical training. It's an initiation. You go on retreats, 4 retreats with the training, and so through the training, my real spiritual journey began. And my first breathwork experience, because we use a lot of breath with the work. It's not only a physical massage, we also do energy work as well. So, but I did fall off the path. You know, life isn't a straight line. It's not just,
it's
here
not
I am.
linear,
I fell off the path a few times.
Yeah,
since
I
that
think
time,
that's brilliant. I mean, that's the best thing anybody can experience. I have a story to tell for that, because you say like you fell off the path. I usually tell it to my students in my courses. So maybe you know it, maybe you don't. So one day a man dies, and he then starts a conversation with God. He's up there, you know, and God, he says, he or she. So in our minds, he's kind of like this bearded guy with a white beard. And he says, let's just look at your life, you know, what happened to your life. So they look at his life, all of his experiences, and they see him walking by the shore, like by the seaside. And you can see his footprints, and there are 2 footprints, like double footprints walking. It's as if 2 people are walking next to each other. And they look at the shore, and he just sees, you know, his life experiences. This is when I went to the school. This is when my parents said this, and this happened. And there are always these 2 double, you know, people walking. And he's kind of like, and sometimes during the path he sees there is 1 pair walking. And then he asks God, what are these? And he says, I mean, these are my footprints, but what are these footprints? And God says, these are my footprints. I'm walking beside you the whole time. And then he says, oh, now I get it. So these are the times when I fell off the path, and I felt really alone, and I was in deep, deep, dark areas. And these are my footprints only, because you left me, because, you know, you weren't there. And God says, no, those are my footprints. I was literally, you were literally holding on to me. I was carrying you on my shoulders. I love nice the story a lot, because in my journey, I've been teaching this for a long time. In my journey, I've been seeing everything I thought. I mean, every moment of my life, I thought everything was upside down. It was actually the opposite. When I look back, it's like the moments I thought I fell off, the moments I thought I was in deep, 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 you know, darkness. Now I look back, those were the moments of my life. Like those were the moments I transformed, you know. The upside down were the best moments actually of my life. Like those moments were when God and the whole universe was carrying me on their shoulders. It's amazing. So what you experience is just amazing. And this is a huge message for anybody listening to us.
I think it's listening. We are generally not trained in our upbringing to tune in. You know, because we live this very external life. Everything is externalized. And as we grow, I mean, now we live in a world that projects success. It's always success. But we don't really need more successful people. We need more people who are aligned and who are
we need more
loving and in tune, who know themselves. I think the saying to know yourself is the greatest gift. It really is. So schooling needs to change and not become programming. It's programming right now.
And it's like over here. It's one of the best educational systems you should see elsewhere. Like in Turkey and like the Far East, it's like it's a different story. Okay, well, we'll continue from here. So I'm in my future. I'm planning to combine and elaborate and like structure my own school's work with the Montessori system, and when you spoke about Montessori, I think they're just doing something brilliant. Like I'm a big fan of her. Like I think she created something amazing, and I would like to see my own self-mastery school, like tune into that and maybe create that's like my ultimate goal, creating building a graduate school for self-mastery. I think we need that, like bringing everything together and training real masters. I see kind of like people yearning for becoming, masters with degrees. Like can you imagine? That's my dream. Like, can you imagine you meet someone and as if you're meeting someone who's saying, "Hi, what do you do?" "I'm a dentist." And they say like, "Hi, what do you do?" "I'm a master."
Yeah, that's it. Self-mastery.
I help you self-master,
Self-mastery. And the soul has a yearning to express itself in different forms in each lifetime. Okay? So, and we have, different things to learn in each lifetime. So, I feel that all of my lessons that have brought me to this point have, they unfold as the purpose of what you're supposed to be living. Your life challenge is part of your purpose.
And I think it's not a coincidence. I love it when you say we don't need any more successful people. And I've been also saying that we don't need successful people. We need people. And I think that's not a coincidence. That's, people who do breath work and meditation, people who stop and take the time to tune in, are all seeing the same thing. It's just we are enough as people. If only we could connect with our own humanity, our own souls, our own wisdom. That's it, There we're fully connected with everything in the universe, and that's enough. I don't know how we'll be able to teach that, and I think we need, like I said, masters.
Yes, on a mass scale. I feel right now at this critical moment in humanity that we are having to become awakened to our sovereignty, that we arrive complete, even though we may feel broken at times. We actually are complete, and we have our own authority. It's about becoming empowered and not, we have been programmed and trained to always give our power away, whether it be, we've been taught stuff, it's been put in our heads. We give our power away on a health level. Changing that paradigm really, so that people take self-responsibility for the subtleties that happen.
I think the way we have been conditioned to, we had that beautiful chat with Shoana, and she said something like, we are not human doings, we are human beings, and I think the biggest problem is that we have been conditioned as doers, like do. And I have a funny story. The first time I started meditation, like many years ago, I don't consider myself as as I was meditating 20 years ago. I think I started real meditation 15, 16 years ago. But I was doing yoga and meditation like 20 years ago in my 20s. And I remember my dad, we were at my parents' house, and I was doing yoga and meditation in the garden. And then I remember my dad, and I was doing yoga and meditation every morning and every afternoon. So I was really passionate about it. And I remember my dad, hearing my dad talking to one of his friends, saying something like, she's doing all these weird stuff. I think there's something wrong with her. Maybe she should see a psychologist or something. I remember he didn't know that I was there. I remember hearing that. It's so funny when I look back then. And when I look back then to years, and I have said it in one of the podcasts I did in States, I opened up a yoga studio in Izmir, the west of Turkey, around 21 years ago. And people didn't know the word yoga. Oh, and there was a very popular cartoon character called Yoga or Yogo on TV, which was a big bear. And I was telling people I have a yoga and meditation studio, and they were telling me, Yogo? That bear? Oh, cartoon character? No, it's yoga. Yogo, no, yoga.
So you had before your time.
And I had to explain this whole, yoga. And I used to do some introductory, events. And people, of course, would approach it first like it was as if it was a fitness, and I'm like, okay, fitness, whatever, let's do fitness.
Yeah. You have to start somewhere, don't you?
Yeah. So I remember where we were many years ago and now where we are right now with all the people awakening, awakening parents. I think we're getting there. I think we are moving beyond the conditioning of, do and work hard. I mean, I see myself very different from my own parents. I mean, at least not telling my children to work, or things like, why are you resting right now? Why are you not doing anything? It's okay to sometimes lay in bed and just hang out, there and be with yourself.
Yes, I think the major problem with the youngsters now is the technological distraction, which takes them out of themselves, so that they don't have, they don't need to be with themselves. They can just be there. Yeah. So I have a 15-year-old. That's one of the challenges. And as far as she's ADHD actually, fast, high energy, loves doing 20 things at once. And I've tried to bring, breath work and meditation and other things to her, but she won't take it from me, but she'll take it from TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it has to come through a different route.
Maybe we should all use TikTok more often, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Do some breathing sessions
cool
on
stuff.
TikTok.
I know. Yeah, my son, who's asthmatic, he's younger though, he's 7, nearly 8, but he'll do the breath with me. So maybe because he's younger, but yeah.
Yeah, there will come a point where, and we bring this energy genetically, so maybe they don't need it as much as we do. I sometimes see that as well, because I look at my 2 daughters, they have a more calm and balanced energy than I had when I was their age. Oh, right. So it's kind of I think because we transformed something in our system, they were born more balanced or something. They're more awake. The generation right now is nothing like our generation. We were very different. And even though I think they get distracted with TikTok and this and that, I think they kind of have a way of settling in. And when approached with the right, with the right techniques and tools, I think they will be okay. And
I think they will, but they won't take it from mom.
Yeah,
I think it has to come through.
Yeah, they have judgments about mom.
Yes,
Mama.
I think it has to come through, a different route, but it's there. And what's interesting is if you, the language has changed. So over the last 20 years, I've really observed people's language changing. And also just what's available in magazines and media and films, and it's just so there's definitely a much more open dialogue and discussion around spirituality, you know, for example.
Yes,
that never existed before.
Yeah,
you know, just wasn't there. So there is an acknowledgement of the metaphysical, and you know that we are actually more than.
Yeah, it's not woo-woo anymore. Like we're moving beyond
it's
that.
Kind of being considered normal.
Yeah, that's good because people need it. It's like people have needed the whole esoteric everything for ages. It's like we haven't been without them ever. You know, since humanity, there are spiritual practices and esoteric practices, and there are all kinds of. I mean, I think we're forgetting that all kinds of teachers who were who built the whole maths and physics. They were all philosophers. They wanted to know what's going on. Like they were deeply philosophers. We sometimes seem to forget. I mean, it's kind of like philosophy and psychology and science, maths and physics seems apart. But when you look backwards where they started from, it's like mathematicians were, or physicists, like, you know,
there was less distinction.
They were philosophers. I mean, rather than distinction, they were that. They were searching for answers. That's why Einstein became Einstein. He was the biggest philosopher of all. Like he was very deeply spiritual, and
he was
kind of like we're kind of like not seeing that part, and maybe now it's time to just see it in a more holistic way. And so what was the most interesting experience you ever had with breathwork and meditation?
Well, I have to add another one to the list. So I've had, you know, two very powerful ones, which I'd say were life-changing. The first one was on my massage training, and we were doing dancing. It's a meditative dance, traditional Hawaiian dance, but you use your breath really a lot, circular breathing, and looking at the sea. And I had just an experience of being connected with everything. I pushed through, you know, lots of layers of pain because I had physical pain still from my injury. So I pushed through that, and then when I came out the other side, this is when I experienced this complete connection and oneness with everything around me. It was not quite out of body, but it was altered state. I think that's the right word. So that was huge. And over the years, I've had, you know, a lot of different work with different healers that sort of unpeels all the different layers of trauma and conditioning that we have, that we bring in with us, that we have through our lives. And through the release work, you know, it has sort of opened up my life and myself more to being more who I am. And the breath is really key to this, because it is the main vehicle that creates that transition, that helps that transformation to take place. So the second breathwork experience I had was more recently, and through this breathwork experience, I had this real urge to vocalize very loudly. I'll just put it like that. It wasn't a primal scream, but it was
kind of like an expression opening.
Deep.
Wow.
Yeah. So this has been an area where I've been blocked for, you know, long time. And I've done loads of work on it over the years. Just also intuitively, I sound and tone a lot. I tap. I've done a lot of things around it. But this time, it felt like I moved something enormous out of my throat. And afterwards, I was literally seeing stars. But also, I had this whole download on what I should be doing next.
Okay.
In the next stage of my
This
life.
happens. This is very natural, by the way, for listeners who haven't done breath work. During breathing sessions, because breath is the soul, it's the spirit. You connect with spirit, and then you can see your future. You connect with your past. You connect with your mission, vision. This is very normal.
That's it. So I connected with all of that,
Yeah,
and I
beautiful.
had this huge download on what I would be doing next in this next leg of my life.
Beautiful.
So yeah, that was really
beautiful.
powerful.
Thanks
Lovely.
for this conversation. This is just brilliant. This is awesome. Thank you so much. And I have one last question for you.
Thank you, Michelle.
And that's, what would you like to see happening? What would you like humanity to know and understand before you die?
I'd like humanity to relate to and connect to their divinity more, and to just realize who they are, actually.
Yeah, actually.
So, it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I'd go for that. I somehow connect with, I think this is me saying, I think our missions brought us together. For everyone I have a deep conversations in this podcast, I think our missions are bringing us together, and
Yes, definitely.
that's why every time I ask this question, I can connect with the answers my guests have given. Like, I can connect with all of them. So I'm kind of like, I've been considering this, I knew this, but
Yes.
I'm now for sure. Like, if you're sitting with me right now, if we're doing this podcast, we're doing it because of our same mission. And that's
yes.
brilliant. Like,
I
mission,
really feel
the
that
same mission bringing us together. So thank you very much for
Thank you,
connecting with
Nevşah.
that mission,
Really lovely.
for supporting that mission. As I usually say, we're in this thing together and we'll do it together. So thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
with us. And thanks
you.
for
Lovely
watching.
to be here.
Thanks for being part of this same mission for humanity. And thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.